Welcome back, all you modding legends. Here we are back at the Missing Detail Models channel. So, how are we getting on? I've been having a good time persisting with these tricky schemes. So the F here is ready for the final unveiling. I've just got one more colour to do, but I've done the two top colours. Mottling, we're getting to that in a second. So the E is finished. I'm quite pleased with that, how that's come out. Never done a scheme with such long elongated lines. I'm just mottling. Yeah, he's looking pretty good. That was just standard masking for the wings, adjusting the colours for the scale effect, and then freehanding bit by bit, almost dot by dot, building it up. And then when you see all the airbrushes, you can then fill a bit more of the line in, yeah, pretty pleased. That is had a gloss coat, so that's actually ready now for stickers, decals, whatever. What else is new? Well, as you know, I plan on using these figures for this kit. So, as I remember the family visiting me from America, I was able to replenish the ones I'm using by finding a whole nother fresh kit. I say fresh, I think this one's even older than the other one. This is like I don't know if this was like an American version, unboxed, like a baggy version. But there's a slight difference in the code numbers. But I've been through it. It's exactly the same kit with all the amazing little action-packed figures. So we got the alarm start, as they call it. So pilots, apart from this guy's got a suitcase, he's strolling. The rest are kind of rushing in their planes or running to their planes. And we got the just a squad of E's here. Deck chair. There's a dog. Always nice to have some animals. They've all got different flying uniforms as well, which is useful. Then we got like a bomber crew on this one, and again another dog. Pretty sure it's not the same dog. Might be the same. No, they're different stances. So yeah, two dogs. There's some ground crew, and then some Africa tropical uniformed Luftwaffe pilots. Luftwaffe ground. Well, yeah, ground crew and pilots. So that was a nice little school. It was probably about, I think it was about £15, which is good, which is cheap. Then I obviously had to pay postage, and American postage, domestic American postage is quite expensive. So it was probably about 25 quid, but worth it. Okay, so they're replenished, so I can go ahead worry free and use those figures. Now this K, I'm itching to unveil and drag back. I'm going to use some of this as protection. As you can see, I've done this required mottled sides in like a late war. It looks like RLM. Let's put the example there. This is what we were trying to achieve. So I've had to do the silver underwings. So this is what it looks like underneath. So silver underwings, blue nose. This late war RLM 99, I think. Yeah, 99. Maybe they figured that was the last colour they were going to have to design. So RM99 in it, and then the sides are just as complex with the different coloured tail fin or different coloured mottling. This is the same green. So in stages in the blue, and then mottling the whole side, then masking off the side because clearly the mottling doesn't go onto the onto the top colours past the demarcation, which normal mottling does. Like on the E. So that's why you got to pay attention to your reference. The E, a lot of these lines come down after demarcation between the two colours, so they're kind of oversprayed. I possibly could have done these colours a little bit different to the top colours just to stand out, but it does kind of stand out anyway, almost as a afterthought. So yeah, pay attention to your references, plan your moves. They should all go hunky-dory. I've actually used masking fluid, which I stopped using because I didn't like it for years, because I found it, you left it on the model, it would ruin. But I've bought some VMS liquid mask recently, and I've started using that. Now I could have used some pin, what do you want to call it, pinstriping, super thin flexi masking tape to get some of these curves. I'll show you here. But I kind of went for a quick route and used the masking fluid. Now you have to be quite sort of mindful as to how it's going down. You can't just slap it on and think it's perfect. You have to make sure you get like a curve rather than a square edge or a staggered edge. If I just reveal some of this, yeah, and I've got a cocktail sticker with some of the masking fluid dried on, and I can just on camera and just rub that over the edge of the demarcation, and any part that's basically stuck to the paint but had the masking fluid pull from underneath it, I can just lift almost like a flake. And yeah, from first inspection, that looks pretty good. Okay, let's have a little bit more. Okay, so again, these colors are custom mix. I got the base color from the mist color, then I lightened them and added some more green. Just because I didn't want to make it too grey and too, late war Luftwaffe colours are kind of, they easily stand out. They got like their own bit of style to them. So just show you a bit more of this mottling. And again, it's got a wavy demarcation from the top colour. So I first did the wavy line from, I don't know if you can see that. I first did the wavy line, focusing. Yeah, so I first did the wavy line with the masking fluid, then I cut small bits of tape and just masked between to fill it on. And quite happy with how the mottling's come out there. It looks pretty true to the reference. Oh, and then also last thing I did yesterday was mask off around the canopy, because the canopy is actually a different grey. It's a different colour grey to the top surface grey, which I think is going to look pretty cool. That we're achieving that, much like that new Edward 109, that kind of patchwork effect. Just plan your moves. What needs to be put down first. I'm fairly easy with which of these, say the top colours I'd put down. If there's two colours, I'm not really that bothered, because in between, once I've done one colour and masked it off, to get rid of the overspray, I would put some dark, some black, or the mahogany primer back down, just so each colour is coming through the same base colour. So it ties it all in. Right, so the last thing I need to do now is I need to achieve this. Now I'm pretty sure I haven't got the decals here. I'm pretty sure there's not a decal for that, and even if there was, it would be too black and wouldn't match the spinner. So we need to mask this chevron or whatever this is. And I've counted it. You got to go and check your reference because we can see the one below is similar, but that's got, I guess, one or two less points or triangles. So how are we going to do it? So I've been thinking about this at work today, and I've kind of come up with this idea. So this piece of masking tape at the top, I wrapped around the nose. So that piece there, I wrapped around the nose. So that gives me the length of the area that the am I going to call them chevrons? Yeah, so the chevrons are going to fill. Yeah. So yeah, it gives me the overall circumference or length, and then all I had to work out was how far along this panel the triangles where the point is. Now, yeah, the panel lines in this picture are different to the panel lines on the aircraft. Which one's correct? I don't know. If I noticed this before, I would have maybe just filled them and recarved them. So I've basically gone off of the features, like the air intake, how far close the air intake is, these other little vents and intakes. Right, so there's 6 in total. So this is me circumference. So I've cut down a piece of tape to the right size. Okay, now you can see where I've cut this. That's now my length, which I found and guesstimated, but as well as I could. And then all I did was shared the length by, or the circumference by 6. These 6 points. So then mark these at the top with the 6 points going from the edge, and then I did half of. So that was 6 mil. So this I went 3 mil, and that'll give me the center point. Then 6 mil for another center point. 6 mil another center point, like so. So now what I need to do is actually cut these triangles out. Now they go kind of point to point, so they're not gonna be in one. They're not gonna be in one piece. I'm gonna end up, I think, with 6 triangles. Okay, probably should have got a nice sharp blade, but now I'll lay these on the model and then try and not the camera. And then what needs making good, I'll make good. I'm going to get the ruler over the top of your mark. I made the marks with a knife so they're actually sharp. It's not the best knife. So let's have a play with that one. I could effectively make loads of these now because I know they're 6 mil at the widest point. Okay, so we want to. Okay, yeah. So if I do it wrong, let me think. So I just realised what I need to do is obviously do the point going towards the front. So I want to leave an area to spray black. So yeah, so I need to basically do that. Okay, of course there's one. There's one underneath. Right, so it's going to take a little bit of play. And like I say, what doesn't go down well, I will go back in there and touch it up with more masking tape, and because obviously it's got to conform to curves and whatnot. So like that. If I get another one, see if we can make that look good. In fact, I've just looked at the piece of masking tape here, and I'm going to end up with making an extra set of triangles by the bits left. So all this can be used just to tidy up what I'm done. Yeah, this it's fairly complex design. I can't say I've done this before. This is just the way I've come up with to solve the problem. I think. Okay, so we're kind of there. I just need shifting over because this one's ending a bit early. So I'll just shift them over a little bit. Again, I'm being careful not to put the very tip of the tweezers on the surface. They're normally good for not scratching these, but you don't want to hedge your bets. And just checking your points. I think there we go. So that's how we're going to do it. Then obviously I'll mask off up to there, spray it black, spray the nose cone at the same time, so it's the same shade of black, or lighten it so it'll be very dark grey really. Yeah, so we're going to achieve our chevrons. Okay, other than that, nothing else of any note. I've just been banging away with the airbrush. Lovely bright evenings. Yeah, this took me a couple of sessions. I'm really quite pleased with that. I think once it's weathered down a bit, it will look pretty cool. This weekend I'm going to the Salisbury Model Show, which is probably one of our locals, and it's a good show. Salisbury is obviously famous for Salisbury Plain, where the armour practiced, British armour. It's rightly so. It's an armour heavy show. I've had success there before, and this is probably my last show, potentially before the Nationals in November. So it's well and truly into the mountain bike season. But yeah, I'm 3 for 0. with my breeder 88. I really want to see if it can do 4 for 0. So wish me luck, and I will report back next week. Don't forget, don't miss out the details on your models, because if you do, it will stick out like a sore asshole.